Hello all YouTubers, I am the Weather Dude. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Thank you all for tuning back into this presentation for May 5th, 2019. Happy Cinco de Mayo to you guys. Today's presentation will be about my 6th 2019 Atlantic hurricane season outlook. I know I haven't done one in a couple weeks. I wanted to collect as much information as I possibly could to present to you guys. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel and also ring the bell notifications. Never miss one of my videos again. Don't forget to look at the description for other videos of mine with superior weather content that you'll never find anywhere else. And don't forget to watch the whole video because the hurricane season outlook is going to be very important. Okay, and in 5 days I'm going to be releasing, or around that 5-day time frame, I'll be releasing my first ocean and beach forecast, because I know I promised I would do that, starting around the time of the May 10th. Okay, so we're going to get started right away here. So this is the oceanic heat content map. Okay, you can see south of Cuba we have the most oceanic heat to fuel those hurricanes. And if you didn't watch my past couple of videos, there was a storm that had like a 20% chance to form. It was off the southeast coast, like in the extreme western Atlantic. Okay, it never did form into Andrea. Okay, but the winds in the storm were pretty gusty, about 30-40 miles an hour. But it just never got its organization together, and eventually got picked up by a frontal system and dried out, which is getting dried out to sea right now. Okay, so we do definitely have some oceanic heat content in the Caribbean. Sea surface temperatures are in the 80s. Okay, so favorable conditions for development are good. The dry air is low. We just have one problem: wind shear. Okay, wind shear has been increasing by about 10 or 20 knots across the Gulf of Mexico in the past 24 hours. Central Florida's in the green, so about 20. That's not too bad. But here's what you want: the dark blues out there where the storm is around right now. Okay, but it's not really going to develop anymore. The sea surface temperatures are too cold up there. Okay, but you can see a lot of the Atlantic, the wind shear is just like astronomical. Okay, but I know it's May. It's still slightly early. But still, we still have a lot of wind shear because of El Nino. Okay, all these forecasts, I'm going to let you look at these for a minute. Okay, you see Colorado State University, tropical storm risk. North Carolina State University, they're going really well, to go really above and beyond here. AccuWeather, Weather Bell, Global Weather Oscillations. Weather Bell and Global Weather Oscillations, I want you to take with kind of a grain of salt, but not really, because these outlooks were released like in February and March. Okay, but the other ones are released in April. Okay, weather channels to be determined. So I took these 6, the ones with numbers. So the first one, the second one, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. I took these 6 ones here. Okay, and I combined them, and if you combine all those 6 of those forecasts, this is the forecast that you get. So 12 to 14 named storms, 5 to 6 hurricanes, and 2 to 3 major hurricanes. So out of those 6 forecasting centers, this is what I found when you add them all up and average them out. So that's what I found, okay? So dry air, like I said, dry air has really been down today, and it's really been dramatically decreasing. You see the Pacific, it's really low as well. Then you see the Caribbean, little to no dry air. The few little patches of yellow and orange. But other than that, dry air is really low today. Gulf of Mexico, it's mostly limited to the northern part. I know there's been some really gusty thunderstorms in the Gulf of Mexico. National Hurricane Center has not been paying attention to any of them yet. Okay, but they still do bear watching. As well as these little storms that flare up here around just south of the Yucatan Peninsula. Okay, some storms to watch there. But overall, dry air has been really low across the western Atlantic. Now over towards Africa, that's a different story. Okay, when I looked between like March and now, yes, the dry air has been receding a little bit. Okay, but still, where you want these storms to form, still way too much dry air. Activity is not going to start out there really till as we head into July, August, mostly August and September. So if you're not too familiar with hurricanes at all, here are the 5 things to know about hurricanes, okay? Storm surge is the water pushed ashore by the winds of a tropical cyclone from the ocean. It's caused more fatalities than any other hurricane hazard. Okay, winds are 74 miles an hour or greater. Massive damage to buildings and structures in its path. Number 3, inland flooding. We're like, well, the storm is weakening as it heads inland. Yes, the winds are weakening, but nobody ever said that the rain and the flood threat was weakening. Okay, so inland flooding remains a threat even if the storm is weakening. It can occur far from the coast and long after landfall. Okay, this threat usually doesn't happen too often in hurricanes, but yes, it has certainly happened and certainly not uncommon. Tornadoes are commonly spawned by a hurricane and cause damage far away from the center of the hurricane. And rip currents and waves can occur even if the hurricane doesn't make a direct hit. For example, on the East Coast, Hurricane Jose a couple years ago. Okay, it was a category 3, I believe, somewhere around there when it passed on the shore, maybe category 4. Okay, but it was way offshore. It didn't impact like rain-wise, but the waves and the beach erosion, Delaware, Jersey, Maryland coastlines was crazy. Okay, and speaking of Jersey and Delaware and Maryland and Virginia, the sea surface temperature anomalies by you guys right now is about like 3 to 5 degrees above average in some spots. Okay, and as I looked at the 2-meter temperature anomalies, like the air temperature anomalies, they're going to be above average for a decently long time. So the ocean in the Western Atlantic is really going to heat up as we head through May. Gulf of Mexico is also above average. Caribbean, yes, they are in the 80s, but a lot of spots in the Caribbean are just slightly below average. But it is getting better over there. Okay, so here we are, anomaly 7-day changes. Okay, from the Delaware coastline down through like Jacksonville, down the southeast coast, the anomalies have been warming up again. Northern Gulf of Mexico, Central Gulf of Mexico, we've been heating up again as well. For sea surface temperatures, so upper 50s to extreme low 60s up in the Chesapeake, the Delaware coastline. That's the sea surface temperatures there. The Gulf Stream, okay, definitely in the upper 70s. And once you head towards Florida, that's where you're going to start running to the 80s. Okay, all the Caribbean's in the 80s. Some parts of the Caribbean are actually at 82. Okay, and you can see that 80-degree line is starting to advance a little bit to the north. Okay, the yellow is technically 79. Okay, but not too long ago, the northern edge of the Gulf of Mexico was at 21, 22. Short time later, they're at 24, 25. So now they're into the mid and even upper 70s. So it's starting to warm up in the Gulf of Mexico as well. Satellite loops, okay, so again, as I was talking about those storms that flare up just south of the Yucatan Peninsula. Okay, and actually, I'm going to reboot this page. Because, I mean, I just set this up like 10-20 minutes ago. But I wanted to make sure I got the latest radar for you guys. Or the satellite. And here we go. So here's some more later satellite. And you can see the storms are flaring up over the Yucatan. Now, sometimes if the west wind is strong enough, it can push those storms potentially over into the Caribbean. And maybe some tropical activity from there. Or they just flare up, stall around the Yucatan, and just die out towards the night. Okay, some storms in the Gulf of Mexico. Yes, they were looking very healthy this morning, except the dry air is low. We got sea surface temperatures in the 80s in most spots. The problem is wind shear is just too high in that area. Okay, you can see there's that storm, that potential tropical cyclone. That's like way out in here now. That's like getting ready to get swept by the front, if not being swept by the front already, and getting pushed out to sea. Don't forget to share this with your friends. Okay, make sure they are informed, especially if you live in a vulnerable area for hurricanes. So this is my latest outlook real quick before I continue. Okay, 12 to 15, that number might go down a little bit, but I just did update this today. And I also updated this down here, significance. Average is slightly above average. Again, that could probably go either way. And even though the Nino 3-4 region, the anomalies have been heating up, the last time the anomalies in the Nino 3-4 region heat up, which means El Nino, they came right back down. So if those anomalies in the Pacific can heat up a little bit, they're going to come back down. And I think towards the end of the season, we'll have that activity. Okay, so 12 to 15 named storms, 4 to 6 hurricanes, 1 to 3 major hurricanes. That number will certainly change. Here's a Euro model. Okay, 24 hours from now, we do certainly see maybe another little red dot, maybe some more tropical activity. Certainly is a possibility. Okay, Euro model does provide limited maps, but I can take what you can get. Okay, and eventually it goes into a big storm. Probably not a tropical cyclone, but definitely like a big coastal storm if it can affect anybody. And as we head through time, not really too much happening. Maybe 10 days from now, maybe get like another little cyclone, some red circles starting to show up there. I'm going to take a look at the CMC, which is the GEM model, and also the GFS, real quick before we wrap up. So here's the CMC model. Okay, they like to take it a little over, but sometimes it's nice to look at. You can see some scattered activity. You can see these little red circles are going to start popping up all over the place. Okay, now we'll continue through the next few days. Okay, real quick, the GFS model. Again, kind of showing the same thing, but really no tropical activity to be talked about over the next few days. So that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and ring the bell notifications. I am the Weather Dude, signing off. Till next time.